This is Movie Division. Today, I'm going to recap the horror thriller movie entitled Halloween Ends. Spoilers ahead. Watch out. On Halloween night in Haddonfield, Corey Cunningham arrives at the Allen house to babysit a white boy named Jeremy, while his parents attend a party. While Mrs. Allen tells Corey to put him to bed early since he's been scared from the previous year's Halloween massacre, Corey ends up putting on a horror movie for the little boy, who claims not to be scared. When Corey tells Jeremy to go to his bedroom, he mouths off to him. Corey then goes to the kitchen for a snack, but overhears a noise. He tries to investigate, and Jeremy isn't there. Suddenly, from upstairs, Jeremy starts screaming and calling for help. Corey grabs a sharp knife and looks in the attic, where he gets locked in. It was just a prank from Jeremy, who won't let him out. Just as Jeremy's parents return, Corey pounces on the door with enough force to send Jeremy flying over the balcony, smashing his face on the floor below. His parents rush to his side in a panic, and Mrs. Allen, sighting the knife in Corey's hand, accuses him of murder. 3 years later, Laurie Strode is now living with Allison, the two of them still trying to move on from Karen's murder. Laurie had been writing a novel about her ordeal when Michael Myers and how the town of Haddonfield has had to deal with the aftermath of his latest massacre. While on her way to work from the hospital, Allison is pulled over by her ex, Officer Doug Mullaney, who still carries around a torch for her, but he also tells her to fix her muffler. Corey has been freed after being acquitted and works at a garage/junkyard. His boss, Ronald, Rick Moose, gifts him with a brand new motorcycle. Corey later rides his new bike to the convenience store and grabs chocolate milk, but on his way out, he is approached by 4 teens, Terry, Billy, Stacy, and Margot, who ask him to buy them some bottles of beer. Corey, however, declines, and the teens then recognize him as the psycho babysitter. Terry taunts Corey and makes him get angry enough to crush the milk bottle in his hand, causing a deep cut. Terry then knocks him down because the milk got on him, just as Laurie shows up and tells the teens to beat it. Laurie helps Corey to his feet and hands him a knife to slash the tires on Terry's car. Laurie takes Corey to the hospital, where Allison attends to the cut on his hand. While in the office of Dr. Mathis, Corey knocks his equipment over by accident, causing Mathis to berate Allison to clean it up. Corey, however, notes that she shouldn't let Mathis talk to her like that. He mentions he works at a garage, so he takes a look at Allison's car and fixes the problem. Allison takes a liking to Corey and invites him to hang out with her. At home, she's encouraged by both Laurie and Elle Wallace to pursue a new romance. Corey is shown at home chilling with his mother, Joan, who appears to be dating Ronald. She treats Corey like a child who is overly protective of him after everyone in town tags him a child murderer. He goes to his job where he tries to teach Allison how to ride his motorcycle while also noticing Terry showing up with his father, who is berating Terry to get his car fixed. Laurie goes to the supermarket where she runs into Mr. Frank Hawkins. They appear flirtatious toward each other, hinting at a mutual attraction. On her way out, Laurie is confronted by a woman who's a relative to Sandra, who survived her attack from Michael but was left speechless since he stuck a light through her throat and had to watch her husband be murdered. And the woman blames Laurie for luring Michael back to terrorize the town. Allison invites Corey to a Halloween party where he brings a scarecrow mask and appears to be having some fun. He drops the mask and proceeds to get a drink, where he is seen by Mrs. Allen. She is obviously drunk and angrily continues to believe that he has deliberately murdered Jeremy, causing Corey to leave. Allison tries to talk to Corey, but he just storms off, thinking Allison wasn't even helping him by putting him out there with everyone who sees him as a killer. As Corey walks home, he is spotted by Terry and some of his friends, who continue to mess with him, except Margot, who thinks they are taking things too far. While Corey attempts to walk away, Terry and Billy won't let him. Corey snaps and says how Terry's dad hates him based on how he was talking to him at the garage. Terry and Billy then throw Corey over the bridge, where he falls unconsciously before the teens flee. In the dark night, an unseen figure, obviously Michael, drags Corey into the sewers. Corey wakes up in the sewers and tries to find an exit, only to be grabbed by the throat by Michael. As Corey struggles to free himself, Michael looks into Corey's eyes, where it is implied he knows that Corey has killed before, so he freed him to go. When he gets out, a homeless man confronts Corey with a knife and orders him to go back into the sewer and get Michael's mask. Corey fought the homeless man and ends up stabbing him to death. Corey goes to Allison's house to find her and tells her to join him. He takes her to the abandoned Allen house, where he explained what happened regarding Jeremy. They then go out to dinner, where Allison is approached by Doug, leading to Corey nearly getting into it with him until Doug goes back with his friends. Meanwhile, Laurie gets worried about them spending time together since she believes she saw Michael in Corey's eyes, so she goes to his house to speak to Joan. Despite expressing empathy, Joan insults Laurie over her persistent involvement with Michael, claiming that Haddonfield picked her son to be their next boogeyman when Michael vanished. Corey drops Allison off at home, where they had their first kiss. He rides his motorcycle away and is being followed by Doug in his car. Corey goes back into the bridge toward the sewer, and Doug eventually finds the homeless man's body. Corey antagonizes Doug and prompts him to follow him into the sewer. Corey attempts to kill Doug and help from Michael, who is now visibly weaker, and needs Corey to hold Doug down as he stabs Doug repeatedly. Corey then finds back to Allison's house, where they have sex. At the office, Allison is bothered by her colleague Deb, who gets a promotion over Allison because Mathis likes her better. Deb comments as regards Allison, who is always associated with surviving Michael, being with the psycho babysitter, until Allison tells her to shut the fuck up. Lori and Lindsay go to the bar, where they are surprised to find Mr. Allen. He reveals to them that he doesn't harbor any hatred for Corey the way his wife does, because he believes that the people of Haddonfield showing hatred towards him was them portraying the Allen's tragedy about themselves. Mr. Allen says that he tried all his best to approach Corey and speak to him, but when he looked into his eyes, he felt that whoever Corey used to be is no longer there, and that he is heading towards a dark path. Deb visits the home of Dr. Mathis, since they are having an affair. While he gets things ready and she proceeds to fix herself up, she overhears a struggle occurring. Deb goes outside and finds Corey wearing the scarecrow mask, stabbing Mathis repeatedly after putting a plastic bag over his head. Deb is found by Michael, who grabs her by the throat and impales her with his knife, leaving her hanging there. Corey took Allison out again, and they climbed to the top of the radio station building. They concluded plans to have Haddonfield for good. When they climb down, they are confronted by local DJ Willie the Kid. He mocks them, as he does on his radio show, and he threatens them to leave. When Corey returns home, he is scolded at by Joan, who slaps him on the face and then tries to kiss him, but he brushes her off. Halloween Day arrives, and Corey ends up spending the night at Allen's house. Lori is there as well, and she orders him to stay away from Allison. He yells at her for setting them up and calls her a freak show, but Lori seems to have vanished before Corey can even realize it. Corey phones Allison and says they need to leave the town soon because he claims Lori tried to kill him. Corey returns to the sewer and asks Michael for his mask, which turns into a big struggle, ending with Corey managing to overpower Michael and grab his mask. Michael could still be seen rising after Corey leaves. Allison heads home to get her things and argues with Lori when she tries to get her to stop. Corey scratches Psycho into Terry's car to lure him into chasing him into the junkyard. The teens then find Corey's motorcycle and attempt to hook it up after their car and drag it. When Terry tells Billy to get it moving, he finds Billy dead with his drumstick through the eye. Corey then drives a van towards Stacy and Margot, making them run and jump over a fence. Margot isn't quick enough and gets pinned on the fence when Corey drives through it. Stacy goes to her side and was beaten to death with a wrench. Terry runs to get help from Ronald, who gives him a rifle for protection. But when Ronald sees that it's Corey, he tried to get Terry to stop, only to get shot in the head. Corey grabs Terry and sticks a blowtorch in his mouth, melting his face off. Corey then stomps on Margot's skull and runs over her whole body. Corey then returns to his house to stab his own mother to death before returning to the radio station, where he kills Willie's receptionist before smashing Willie's face on his turntables, managing his jaw and then cutting off his tongue in a gruesome manner. Allison tries to meet Corey where he advised her to go, but he doesn't show up and doesn't answer his phone. Lori tries to contact Allison but has no luck. She then calls 911 and reports a possible suicide. Lori then grabs a gun and appears ready to commit suicide. As Corey goes up the stairs of her house, he heard a gunshot and a splatter, but then finds it's just a pumpkin. Lori already anticipated this and shoots Corey, making him fall down the stairs. Realizing he was well exposed, Corey stabs himself. Lori hurried to pull the knife out just as Allison enters the house, making it look like Lori murdered Corey. Allison cried and flees as Lori tries to explain. Moments later, Michael entered the room and grabs his mask from Corey, who turns out to still be alive. He fights Michael for the mask until Michael grabs Corey's head and snaps his neck, killing Corey right there. Just as Allison is heading out, she gets a call from the police department who reports a suicide attempt, and then Allison realizes what's going on. Lori and Michael then kickstart their final showdown, and Michael kicking Lori all over the place, and then trying to stick her hands in a running garbage disposal. Lori managed to grab his knife and impale his hand onto her kitchen counter. She grabs another knife and pierced it through Michael's other hand, and then pushes the fridge down to pin his legs. Lori then removes Michael's mask to get a clear look at his face, which we don't see, acknowledging him not as the boogeyman, but just a regular man. She sits down Michael's throat, but he attempted one last attack before Allison shows up and helps Lori slit Michael's wrist, finally putting an end to her lifelong nemesis. As Hawkins and the rest of the police escort arrive, they stare at Michael's corpse and have the police send an alert. The entire town of Haddonfield gathered there and proceeded with Lori, Allison, and the police to the town junkyard. They agree to throw Michael's body into a machine in a bid to ensure that there is no way he will ever come back, and finally putting an end to the town's nightmare. Allison then apologizes and reconciles with Lori, saying she knows Corey really was evil in the end. She left Haddonfield on her own, carrying her parents' wedding rings around their neck. Lori completes her written novel by postulating that although Michael is finally gone, but evil never really goes away, and just takes on a different shape if it eventually returns. She was later revisited by Hawkins, who brings her groceries before they sit down to chit-chat and potentially pursue a relationship thereafter. The final shots are of Lori's empty apartment, while a faint breathing noise is heard, and Michael's mask rests on the coffee table. And the movie ends there. If you enjoyed the recap, leave a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos like this. Turn on the bell notification and comment down your favorite part of the movie. Thanks for watching.